Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Winnetka Village Council regular meeting for April 18th, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask everybody, including me, to mute your cell phone and other electronic devices. And Bob, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Item 3 is quorum check. Kristen, you want to go ahead and ask Kristen to do a roll call for attendance.
Trustee Dahlman. Here. Trustee Swerk.
Here.
Trustee Dearborn.
Here.
Trustee Apatoff.
Here.
Trustee Kripe.
Here.
Trustee Handler.
Here.
President Rentz.
Present. We're all here. Okay, quorum check.
Does everyone expect to be in attendance at the May 2nd regular meeting?
Yes.
The May 9th study session?
Nope.
Nope.
And then May 16th regular meeting?
We'll see. All right, item 4 is public comment. This is the time of the evening where anybody in the audience can come up to the microphone and share your thoughts with us on anything that is not on tonight's agenda. So if you're not here to talk about Hubbard Woods School, come on up and share your thoughts with us. Come on up, Liz. These mics weren't working very well last night.
No, it is.
I don't know what the deal was.
Hello,
Hello.
is this thing on? Okay. Hi, I'm Liz Kunkel, 1303 Holly Lane in Winnetka. I'm the founder and president of Go Green Winnetka, an environmental and forestry commissioner and a plant commissioner. And I was here a couple weeks ago and I made a public comment about 2 topics, compost and sustainability coordinator. And I was going to follow up with everybody by email, and then the timing worked out much better for me to just come and make another public comment because I was happy to see some other agenda items that I was interested in. So, I handed out a doc. So basically, I'm literally here to follow up on the public comment I made 2 weeks ago at the regular meeting, but it was on Monday the 3rd. What I just handed out is a flyer that I mentioned at that meeting that Go Green Winnetka and the Illinois Food Scrap and Composting Coalition was in the process of preparing regarding International Compost Awareness Week here in Illinois, which it's actually international. It may also be designated as a specific statewide event if the Senate adopts a resolution that it's considering, but it may not happen before the actual week. So this flyer is related to International Compost Awareness Week as opposed to an Illinois-specific event, which is what we had last year. But it still really talks about the benefits of composting, which is what I was talking about last time. And the most relevant one for Winnetka relates to stormwater management and flooding. And so I wanted to emphasize and reiterate the need to use finished compost and just, again, increase awareness of the benefits of creating compost, diverting food scraps, and then using that finished compost. And in the stormwater context specifically, in our especially clay-rich soils here in Winnetka and the North Shore, when you add any additional element to it, it's beneficial. It's going to add aeration to the soil. It's going to add pockets, and those pockets of air can hold water, and it slows down that flow of water under and above ground. Similarly, compost helps grow plants. It helps support plants, and specifically plants with deep roots. Those plants with deep roots have the same effect of holding and slowing down water, both below ground and above ground. They obviously support plant growth, low plants and tall plants, including trees, all of which also slows water getting onto our ground in the first place. So there are multiple reasons that Winnetka specifically wants to look at and support composting in connection with our storm water work. There are lots of reasons. So I also wanted to mention As a point of disclosure, I no longer work for Collective Resource Compost. I worked for them for about 3 years. I'm a free agent now. As you know, I've always been all about all kinds of composting, not any one company or form of composting. So again, I handed out the flyer. I wanted to mention that there's a really cool infographic on the village website that mentions items, materials that are accepted and specifically not accepted in the village drop-off program that Lakeshore Recycling supports. So I just wanted to mention that. I didn't want to do a printout of that. And then the last thing, thank you for humoring me for one more second, regarding the sustainability coordinator. As I mentioned last time, it doesn't have to be an either-or with regard to public works needs. And I'd mentioned that New Trier had hired a person. They'd already a person had already committed to a start date of July 1, 2015, and roughly 6 weeks prior, the then superintendent agreed to add some responsibilities relating to sustainability to that person's job description, and I couldn't recall that person's name at the meeting 2 weeks ago. It's Eric Munson, M-U-N-S-O-N, and I encourage anybody on the council or staff to reach out to David Conway at New Trier to talk about how that position has evolved, and Eric directly. Relatedly, I want to put a plug in for Eric Jensen in the Village Public Works Department. I've worked with him over the last year since he's joined us, and he's absolutely got headspace, bandwidth, and interest in this, and could absolutely support us in this. And then finally, I wanted to mention the last thing I said regarding a sustainability coordinator was that they could help leverage and find grants for the village. And literally the next day after that meeting on Tuesday the 4th, the USDA announced millions of dollars available in infrastructure grants, again, for food scraps, waste reduction, and related things that a sustainability coordinator could help leverage for the village. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. Would anybody else like to speak? Seeing none, we will close public comment. Oh, I'm not on, sorry. Seeing nobody else wants to talk, we will move forward, and item 5 is reports. Trustees, we'll start with Trustee Epitoff.
No report today.
Andy?
No report.
Kim?
No report.
Bob?
No report.
John?
No report.
Tina?
No report.
That was easy. Village Attorney?
No report.
Village Manager, Village
Acting manager.
Acting Manager, thank you.
No report.
And Village President, I always have something to say, but not tonight. So we'll move on to item 6, which is presentations. The first one is Monarch Remembrance Day Proclamation. The Environmental and Forestry Commission is requesting that Village Council approve the 2023 Monarch Remembrance Day Proclamation to show support and promote monarch butterfly conservation. Diana's going to go ahead and walk us through this and save my voice and read it for me. Thank you.
Of course. Good evening, President Rentz and Village Council. The Monarch Butterfly Proclamation reads as, whereas the monarch butterfly is an iconic North American species whose multi-generational migration and metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly has captured the imagination of millions of Americans. And whereas the counting 2017 Western monarchs, which overwinters in California, reached an historic low of fewer than 29,000 butterflies, down from 1.2 million 2 decades previously, and falling below the predicted extinction threshold. The population failed to rebound in 2019, maintaining just 29,000 individual butterflies. Whereas 20 years ago, more than 1 billion eastern monarch butterflies migrated to Mexico, but in the winter of 2014, only 60 million made the trip. And whereas every citizen of Winnetka can make a difference for the monarch by planting pollinator attracting native plants to provide habitat for the monarch and other pollinators in locations where people live, work, learn, play, and worship. And whereas on behalf of the residents of the village who are already planning on creating healthy habitat for those magnificent butterflies, the Village Council is honored to lead the way by signing the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge. And we encourage other officials across the United States and neighboring countries to take a stand with us so that the monarch butterfly will once again flourish across the continent. Now, therefore, the Village of Winnetka does hereby proclaim that April 22nd, 2023 shall be Monarch Remembrance Day in the Village of Winnetka, adopted this 18th day of April 2023.
Thanks, Diana. That's
Thank you.
great. All right, any questions or comments on this? Sounds good. May I have a motion to approve the proclamation by omnibus vote?
So moved.
Second.
It'll be a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Our second proclamation of the evening is Arbor Day proclamation. For 30 consecutive years, the village has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation, supporting the community tree care program. Andrew Luck is here tonight to read that proclamation. How's it going, Andrew?
Great, how are you?
Good.
Good evening, President Rentz and Village Council. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, the Council of the Village of Winnetka do hereby proclaim April 28th, 2023 as Arbor Day in the Village of Winnetka. And we urge all citizens to support efforts to protect our trees and woodland and to support our village's urban forestry program.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. All right, may I have a motion to approve the proclamation by omnibus vote?
So moved.
Second.
That is also a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much. All right, moving forward, item 7 this evening is approval of the consent agenda. Does any trustee wish to remove any items on the consent agenda for a separate vote? No takers. May I have a motion to approve the final form of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
That's a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. And now we'll move forward with the consent agenda, and I will ask the Assistant Village Manager to read the items on the consent agenda.
The approval of the Village Council minutes for the March 14th, 2023 joint study session and the March 21st, 2023 regular meeting. Approval of the warrant list dated April 24th, 2023 to April 6th, 2023 in the amount of $1,364,043.76. Ordinance number M6, 2023, adopting a comprehensive plan for the Village of Winnetka. Resolution number R44, 2023, waiving bidding and approving a professional services agreement with Baxter and Woodman Incorporated for professional engineering services. Resolution number R45, 2023, waiving bidding and approving the disposal of a fire department vehicle and the purchase of a new incident command vehicle from Schmidt Chevrolet Cadillac. Resolution number R46, 2023, waiving bidding and approving a purchase of software licenses from Liftoff LLC. Resolution number R47, 2023, waiving bidding and approving the purchase of a pedestrian crossing signs from Lightguard Systems Incorporated and approval of additional annual outdoor seating area permits.
Thank you, Kristen. All right, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda by omnibus vote?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Trustee Dearborn,
Yes.
Trustee Apatow,
Yes.
Trustee Dahlman,
Yes.
Trustee Swerk,
Yes.
Trustee Kripe,
Yes.
Trustee Handler.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. All right, item 9 is ordinances and resolutions. First item is ordinance number M07, 2023, granting an amendment to a special use, variations from the Winnetka zoning ordinance, and a certificate of appropriateness for the design of an addition and site improvements within the R4 single-family residential zoning district for Hubbard Woods Schools. This is up for introduction and possible adoption. Council will consider approving the proposed construction plans and improvements to Hubbard Woods School. Community Development Director David Schoen is here tonight to walk us through this request.
Good evening. I'll run through this this evening.
I'm sure you're all aware of where Hubbard Wood School is, located at Chatfield and Gordon Terrace. The proposed addition is on the southwest corner of the existing school building. The site is located in the R4 Single Family Zoning District, in which schools are allowed by special use approval. The most recent special use approval for the school was in 2022 for a new playground and new rubberized play surface along the northern 2/3 of the westerly property line. The school did not move forward with those improvements, and I'll touch base on that in a minute. These images show the location of the proposed addition and the location of entry ramp work on the front of the school. The proposed improvements include the building addition, consisting of a multi-purpose room, restrooms, and storage. To the south of there will be an enclosure structure for exterior mechanical equipment and refuse containers. And then there will be some interior renovations for HVAC system, bathroom renovations, ADA compliance items, and also security upgrades. The applicant is currently working with the village attorney on their submittal for the site improvement permit that would be necessary, and they're working on the stormwater detention requirements. You can see south of the school, they're currently showing some underground detention. Those details still need to be finalized and working with the village attorney. I mean, the village engineer or the village attorney if he wants to. The applicant has presented renderings of the proposed addition. This is looking at the west elevation of the addition, looking from the interior of the lot. To give you some perspective on the size of the addition, with the exterior mechanical equipment enclosure area, the site will increase by 1,600 square feet of gross floor area, and the roof lot coverage will increase by 3,100 square feet. The mechanical equipment and refuse containers will be enclosed by a solid wall measuring 7 feet in height, including it'll have a brick face to match the school addition. I'll just leave it at that. If you have any other questions on that, I can go into more detail. Since the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, the school district has requested that the special use approval no longer include the recently approved playground equipment. They're working on revising those plans and will come back at a later time with those new plans. So the request before the council no longer includes that impermeable lot coverage included with the recent playground equipment. And I only mention that if you had reviewed the Zoning Board of Appeals staff report, the numbers were higher than what is currently before you for approval. So your three advisory bodies reviewed the application during the month of March. Each unanimously recommended approval. The Design Review Board did include one condition as part of their approval, wanting to soften that brick wall of the enclosure by adding some landscaping to buffer it, not necessarily to screen it, but to soften the impact of that. And the ordinance before you does include that condition, which the applicant has agreed to, and will, when they come back with their revised playground equipment, would present that before the Design Review Board. Staff has not received any additional written correspondence other than what was included in your packet. And so in your packet is an ordinance for consideration starting on page 351. And I have nothing further unless you have questions.
Are we going to hear from the applicant at all this evening?
Yes.
Great. I mean, do you have anything to, to present or anything of that nature? Cool, okay. Questions for David?
Yeah, I'm looking at the HVAC.
Mike?
Hello, thank
There
you.
we go.
Red Dead, forgot. Looking at the HVAC area, it looks, is there a minimum that they, or a maximum? I guess it looks like a big area for what they're trying to put in. I know it's just a rendering, but from a total space, it seems like a pretty big area compared to what they're actually building, adding on. Is that HVAC only servicing the new addition, or is that servicing other parts of the building?
I will let the applicant's team address why they are proposing the size that they are.
Hi, I'm Rick Young, architect with Perkins & Will. The enclosure accounts for a new chiller, which is to provide air conditioning to the entire building, not just the addition. It also includes a garbage enclosure. It's going to be moving the garbage collection from the northeast side into that enclosure, as well as the composting just outside of that enclosure. It also includes space for a potential future generator for the building, not included in this project, but allowing for the proper space for that. And also an RTU, or an exterior mechanical unit, specific for the addition. And included with all of those are the required minimum clearances to properly maintain and change out parts and pieces for each of those.
Okay. What size of the space, what size is that enclosure in general? I'm just trying to look at it right now.
The exact dimensions, I don't know off the top of my head.
20, just a small, sorry. Even with glasses, it's not.
100 square feet, 200 square feet?
30 by 41.
30 by 41, okay.
Yeah.
Is there still this will become the primary area for Harbor Woods as far as recreation? There's a gym there still, isn't there?
It's not for recreation. The multi-purpose room is actually to serve as a cafeteria. Currently, Hubbard Woods does not have a cafeteria space. They currently serve
Just a
lunches
cafeteria
in the
space.
auditorium
Yeah.
on the floor there.
I thought they were needed for other things too, that's fine.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay.
Others?
No questions?
I just have my kids all went to Hubbard Woods, love the school. There's that little courtyard by the art room, that's a little bit of an outdoor space. Will that be taken away, or is that gonna be maintained, so that it gives, when the weather's nice, it's a safe way for the kids maybe to be in class outside? Will that still be part of the school?
Yeah, that courtyard is going to remain in place.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
All right, public comment. Would anybody from the public like to speak on this item? Neighbors from around the corner, anybody like that, or down the street, or? No comments, okay. Any further comments, questions up here?
If we could I'm open for the
Oh.
adoption.
Yeah, I think we
Are
should.
we all open for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over this side says yeah, this side says yeah, okay, we can get it moved along. Great, we can do that. I'll say that architecture's fantastic. Buildings look, I mean, it will look like it's been there forever, and I know you guys do great work, so. And you passed a pretty tough group at DRB, so if you can get by them, then I think you're pretty good with me, so. All right, we'll move forward on this, and if I'm waiving intro, I need a motion to waive the introduction of ordinance number M07, 2023.
So moved.
Second?
Voice vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion carries. Now move forward, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance number M07, 2023?
So moved. Second.
That's a roll call vote.
Trustee Swerk,
Yes.
trustee Kripe,
Yes.
trustee Apatow,
Yes.
trustee Handler,
Yes.
trustee Dearborn,
Yes.
trustee Dahlman.
Yes.
That motion carries, thank you. And thank you guys, good luck. All right, item 10, old business, there is none. Item 11, new business, there's never any. Item 12, appointments, there is none, and there's no closed session this evening, so we're to adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
That's a voice vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we stand adjourned, thank you. Good job.